Ron and his team for having Sylvania Smart Home here. When I say Sylvania, does that mean light bulb to anyone in the room? Show of hands. Awesome. Sylvania has been around since 1901, and we know how to make light bulbs really well. Odds are you might have a Sylvania bulb inside your house. We celebrated our 100th anniversary in 2001, and we trace our brand's history back in a lot of ways really to the beginning of the light bulb, and perhaps to one of the first light bulb recycling companies. In 1901, a young entrepreneur named Frank Poor created a small company called the Bay State Lamp Company up near Boston, which is where we're based. And they renewed burnt out light bulbs. So Poor's company would buy old bulbs that were burnt out. He'd cut the top open, replace the filament, put it back together, and then resell it. And over the years, Sylvania has made light bulbs, we've made TVs, we've made a lot of different kinds of electronics. But lighting has always been the core part of our business. And a picture here is a 1956 Sylvania Halolite television that was actually retrofitted with modern LED technology. And I believe that is a young Sean Connery as James Bond. I apologize for using notes. I haven't given this presentation before, so bear with me. But don't be alarmed. Hang with me. We're really here today to talk about smart lighting and how that fits inside the smart home. We'll also cover, I hope, some interesting and practical use cases for smart lighting that perhaps you haven't thought about. For example, with smart lighting, have you ever considered ditching your alarm clock or your smartphone and waking up to light? This is something that I thought was complete rubbish when I joined the company, but today, my wife and I wake up to light. With our technology and with most smart lighting technology, you can set it to control temperature. So you have a full range of light that starts at a very high intensity white, which mimics what you'd see in the morning from the sun, all the way up to a nice bright, not bright, but a dim yellow, glowy orange. But the point here, and I like to tease this one out, is because smart lighting really does give you the opportunity to create these types of experiences. And I'm really not pulling a chain. I don't use an alarm clock every morning. The light by our bedside table wakes me up if my screaming son doesn't do it before that. So I thought we would take a quick trip through history and look at how lighting has evolved from a historical perspective, but also look at how the technology has evolved. How we've gone from an incandescent bulb up to LED and now into smart connected lighting. Most people associate the invention of the light bulb with Thomas Edison, who was an American inventor, and he's widely credited with that invention. However, he's really much more so the mind behind the systems that delivered electricity, first to street lamps and then into storefronts and then into our homes too. So it's still fair to point to about 1879-ish as the year when incandescent light bulbs became a thing. And it really touched off a revolution in the way that people interacted with artificial light. Clarity around who actually invented the first bulb, it's tough to nail down because there was a lot of research going on both sides of the Atlantic. Edison's work clearly gave things a jump start, but the global spread and use of the light bulb was largely spurred on by achievements in electrical engineering by a German firm, and that was really right around 1880. And you'll see this today. There's a very strong connection between Germany and the United States when it comes to the lighting industry, and then now with the advent of LED, China and other APAC countries as well. So if you look specifically at how the technology has evolved, we start here with incandescent bulbs, basic filament inside a sealed glass environment It gives off a really nice white light. It's dimmable. It sucks power. I mean, so much power that governments now are just kicking them off the shelf. You can't create them anymore. We also sell halogen, which greatly reduced the amount of power consumption. It also gave off a pretty good color spectrum. However, so hot. Have you ever seen or held halogen light after it's been on for 5 minutes? It will burn your face off. It also buzzes badly and it dims poorly. CFLs came around. This is an old technology. Pretty good, but it doesn't dim well. There's also a lot of mercury used in it, so there's some ethical issues when it comes to disposing of them. And then LED came around. So solid state technology, it creates great light. Most people's first experience with LED was very bad. The early ones coming out of very low-level manufacturing plants weren't made very well, but now you have very reputable, established lighting companies that have very good products in the market. Most people who experience LED now favor it over any other bulb they've seen. But that brings us to the future, which is our product and the one I'm talking about. Make sure I'm on the right spot here, which has a brain in it. So the way we approach our bulbs at Sylvania Smart Home is not only do they have LED technology, which is great and wonderful and saves everyone power, they're also connected. So every bulb has wireless communications built into it, and with the correct infrastructure inside a home, inside an office building, whatever it is you want to talk about. My area is residential, and I'd like to talk about the home tonight, but these bulbs can all respond to commands from a central hub. They can interact with the larger, hang on, I'm going to get to that, the larger infrastructure inside the house, and they create different experiences with lighting that you have never been able to have before. Smart lighting has been around for a while. Everyone remembers the clapper, I hope. Some people. Hilarious device that responded to clapping and also to any other ambient noise that it interpreted as clapping. This was around the 90s, but we're pretty far beyond that these days. And as I was getting to before, smart lighting is really just a piece of the overall smart home structure. When you go out and the opportunities you have today to create what's called a DIY, a do-it-yourself smart home, are incredible. 5 years ago, you could go out and try to find door locks and thermostats and garage door openers that supposedly connected and all worked together, but it was rubbish. Now it's incredible the different ways that you can build your smart home. Starting with a hub like SmartThings here by Samsung. You install this in a very similar way to that you have a Roku, and you add your smart locks to it, and then you add your thermostat to it, and then you add your bulbs to it, and then you can add your Amazon Alexa to it. So what you're doing is building this really robust network inside the house. All these devices are now talking together, and they're working together too. So you can start imagining the different experiences that you can create, the different use cases that this level of connectivity really enables. And we'll get into some of them. So to kind of start with just the sexy, cool piece of the technology, not everyone wants to sit in a room that looks like a disco ball. Maybe once in a while you do. But we do have that capability now. So the bulbs all have, the higher end bulbs all have the ability to tune the color to any side of the rainbow you want to be on. And it's fun and exciting. More practically though, so think about home security. Maybe right now you have a security system inside your house. Maybe it's through our partner Comcast. Maybe it's through someone else. And the traditional approach here is window opens while you're away, alarm goes off. Okay. But what about when it's more connected? Let's say, and I hate to be like the fear-mongering security guy here, but here's just a simple use case. you and your family are home sleeping, and a burglar does try to enter your window. Opens the window, alarm goes off. Okay, does that really deter him? Yeah, it depends on how determined he is, right? So well, what if your lights turn on? And then when you come out of the bedroom to find out what's going on, that path between you and that burglar is now lit. Not only that, lights are blinking, they're really scaring the guy. It's just you can kind of start to see the different ways that lighting can become a piece of that ecosystem, and it creates a different level of experience. It amplifies the experience in a lot of ways. So security is one way to look at it. Light harvesting is a really interesting thing that it has just become possible really on the residential side. And the idea here is that your home is now playing matchmaker between the amount of light that's coming in through your blinds, through your windows, and the amount of light that's being delivered through artificial artificial light, shall we say. So here I've got, Lutron has a product here that is a smart shade, and you can see how it's battery powered, which isn't the best, but the batteries will last for 3 or 4 years. It connects to your smart home hub. I'm showing the Wink hub here. This is another smart home hub in addition to the Samsung hub. And you can coordinate all this with your lighting. So when you start thinking about the energy saving that LED gives you, start thinking about upping that by a level and matching the amount of light that's coming from inside with the amount of light that you're actually producing through your home's electricity. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. A lot of office buildings are doing this now, and it's also possible inside your home too. Aging is a huge one. Big opportunity here. So think about, and it's really hard to find a picture of a dark hallway on the internet that doesn't have some kind of crazy right around it. So I apologize for the scary horror movie shot here. But think about, and I deal with this with my parents. My elderly father walking down the hall at night, what if the lights just turned on rather than him having to fumble for a switch? What if when he went into the bathroom, they just turned on? That's all possible by building that ecosystem inside your house, and it's not that complicated. These types of sensors aren't very expensive. You can stick them on a wall or anywhere you really want. The batteries last 8 to 10 years, and it just works. It's very simple. There's a little bit of a pain point when you actually go to set it up, but once it's there, it's a no-brainer. It's so easy. It's very simple. And I bring up this use case because aging in place, it becomes a very important thing, especially for people of my generation who think about how am I going to age in my home, because I don't want to lose my freedom. Little things like this can go a long way in making that environment reactive to what people need and helping them live happier, healthier, longer, hopefully, and potentially avoiding a nasty spill because they can't see in the hallway. And there's a lot of other ways to think about it. This is just one example. This is a really interesting use case. So if you look at homeowner insurance companies right now, they are really interested in smart home technology for 2 reasons. One is they have no touch point with their consumers, right? The only time you ever call your home insurance company is when something really bad has gone wrong, right? So that, and then about 65% of insurance claims come from water damage. So insurance companies today are saying, when you become a member of our plan, I'm going to give you a water leak detector as part of your plan, and it's going to connect to your smart home. And for us, it's also going to include your lights. So when a water leak is detected, it's going to trigger alerts that go through your system, but your lights are also going to flash red. So if you don't have your phone on you, you don't know it, your house is now going to start telling you that something's wrong, right? Your home starts speaking to you. It starts becoming a more active player in your life, which is pretty cool, I think, at least. And that's it. That's all I got right now. if you saw our demo, we just announced our integration with Amazon Alexa. So now, not only can you control your lights through your normal switch, or through your phone, or your iPad, whatever it is, you can tell them to turn on, which is amazing. When you think about the power that these new voice automation systems bring, that new user interface, who can't, unless you have some kind of audible impairment, most people can talk to their lights now. Can you imagine the utility that brings to someone who's blind, or just anyone? I mean, I would love to just tell my lights to dim or to turn on or turn off, and the simplicity there is amazing. And I really think that most people inside the smart home ecosystem see these devices, and Amazon is obviously the early one. Google has announced a product, and Apple obviously has had Siri for a long time and is moving aggressively with their home integration. So most of the large tech companies are playing a really important role in driving the adoption of this smart home stuff, and they're benefiting from the connectivity. So I hope I helped you see the light a little more on the smart home and how smart lighting can play a role. There's literally a dozen or more use cases that I could have shown you. I just came up with a few that I thought help illustrate the opportunity, and happy to take any questions. I'll be around for a little bit before I catch my flight back to Boston, home of the Red Sox. But thank you.